Tulips have been enjoyed for centuries by populations worldwide. Named for the Turkish word turban because of its form and the headdress's protective qualities from heat, tulips became a symbol of wealth and prestige for the 15th century Turkish dynasty of the Ottoman Empire. Since then, tulips have evolved into over 109 species with 1,700 variations of ranging sizes, shapes, and colors. They are loved for their simplistic elegance and graceful beauty, accompanied by their accomplished ecologically adaptive strategies. Strategies so simplistic, yet so effective that instinctively focus on their mission for protection and survival. Please enjoy this transformative investigation as these same series of protective movements produced by nature are transposed into a sustainable architectural design experience that provides the same benefits of protection and comfort for humans. Welcome to our exploration of tulips in motion. Within the tulip's own ecosystem, light, air, water, and temperature are all contributors for the tulip's adaptive strategies to flourish, as seen with the unfolding of the petals for reproduction and the contraction of the petals for protection. The tulip cell's processes of turgidity and osmosis are the unseen mechanisms regulating this behavior. As water moves into the cell, it expands, triggering a pressure which induces the flower petals to unfold its living hinge and absorb the warmth of the sun for pollination. As water moves out of the cell, the loss of pressure relaxes the petals and the hinging motion closes for the organism's protection. In order to achieve a deeper understanding of the tulip petal's motion, the cyclic concept of expansion and contraction became the focus of investigation. The result is a cellular movement displaying a negative Poisson's ratio through auxetic shape-shifting properties. This led to developing variations of repetitive units that work together to auxetically open and close. The process was further built upon through trial and error experiments of replicating the living hinge joint through modeling concepts that isolated the auxetic shape down to its simplest form. Various materials used to construct the isolated form were then tested to environmental conditions of heat and water for expansion and contraction properties. This led to further development of modeling compilations that replicated the tulip's response mechanism functions while experimenting with hydraulics and convection. The principles of hydraulics and convection using air and water, tension and compression, and expansion and elasticity were used in the investigation. Models needed to be rigid enough to hold a form, but flexible enough to allow for a free range of motion. In the next phase of our modeling progression, exploratory models applied the principles learned from the isolated joint experiments and also abstracted the manufacturing processes of stamping, laminating, and paper folding. This gave greater breadth to the understanding of the expansion and contraction, tension and compression, and cyclic movement capacities. After targeting the range of motion desired, test models were constructed with a variety of durable, lightweight, translucent, and resilient materials. The most interest generated from the material study were ones that show the greatest opportunities for resilience and flexibility. With the projected material properties anticipated, modeling development progressed through the paper folding principles of origami. The shape-shifting cell properties of the tulip's petals were best represented in the modeling investigation as the single auxetic cell unit, which illustrated the standalone capacity to direct its own expansion and contraction motions into a functional and protective manner. The designated site of O'Dowd Hall on the Oakland University campus was investigated to apply design solutions that could counter the 40-year-old mirror-glazed facade's heinous glare that infringes on the surrounding microclimate and its occupants. The focus of our exploration started off with developing ways to control the commanding glare, contain artificial light, incorporate ventilation, and provide new opportunities to use natural light efficiently within the interior environment. By developing the independent unit modularly, 3 prototype system variations were diversely configured that exhibited distinctive shading strategies and light augmentation capabilities when exposed to heat. Each was explored for its possibilities for architectural element transformation into brick, patch, and infill applications that maintain their functions for human protection and comfort. From this investigation, our focus targeted the possibilities of the infill prototype that morphologically progressed through modification of the structural form and materiality of the single-cell unit. The system allowed for possibilities of lowered energy consumption and light pollution reduction to be probable through further investigation. The O'Dowd Hall site was further investigated for sun past, present, and winter and summer solstices with the existing building's east-west elongated orientation. The prototype unit was further refined and transitioned from its once sun-shading focus characteristics into capabilities that direct, redistribute, and instinctively respond to light. A quantitative and qualitative light study investigation was conducted to determine the mediation of sunlight paths possible when combined with the prototype's reflective, diffusion, and disbursement qualities while in the open and closed positions. Of the 21 tests performed, the selection was narrowed down to a unit with high interior reflectance and the ability to scoop in direct natural light and reappropriate it into the interior environment. Although the perforations were visually intriguing in the light box studied, no additional value was achieved by them when placed in the silicone surround encasement due to the silicone's own ability to emit a translucent glow when applied with adjacent light. Once the desired light paths and materiality were determined, a full-scale model of the unit was constructed to expand and contract to incoming light and redirect it for end-user benefit. The working portion of the unit was modeled out of an opaque sheet styrene with a reflective aluminum interior backing that allowed the unit to remain flexible yet durable enough to withstand incoming weather conditions. The dual-faced elongated diamond form was married to a clear acrylic foundation that would allow the entry of diffused light through the underside of the unit when in an open position. The perimeter of the diamond unit was encased in an airtight webbing of silicone that remains unaffected by ultraviolet light and provides long-term resistance to environmental extremes. The silicone webbing emits a translucent glow when adjacent natural or artificial light is present that allows the unit configuration to remain pliable and formable into an operative system. After transforming the light-responsive unit, the prototypes were developed into a system application that allowed the reappropriation of natural light to enter interior spaces that would otherwise be deprived from its presence. The O'Dowd Hall structure was evaluated with its existing site orientation for areas that would best supply natural light and create a homogeneous relationship with the interior and exterior environments. The building's third, fourth, and fifth floors were strategically carved out on the south and west facades, creating an intermediate semi-conditioned space that allowed exterior non-conditioned and interior conditioned spaces to be combined adjacently for occupant use and enjoyment. The cable suspended system was drawn downward in a blanketing form penetrating to the building's core. During the day, the units open to let in natural light and expose it to scooping and reflective properties of the units that redirect the light upward and downward through light diffusing floor and ceiling panels that still maintain privacy within the conditioned space. At nighttime, the system flaps closed to contain the artificial light within the interior, but still allow artificial light to glow through the translucent silicone webbing to provide ambient and security lighting for exterior spaces. The system has the potential to be controlled by sun-centering devices that instinctively expand and contract the units in a fashion that replicates the movements of the tulip petals in response to heat. It provides an integrated relationship with the interior and exterior environments that delivers an outdoor getaway design experience while never having to leave the building. Looking ahead to the year 2025, the local ecosystem will also benefit from the system's intervention. Glare is lessened due to the absence of reflected light back into the surrounding microclimate. The desired light emitted remains diffused and ambient in nature for end-user security and visual stimulation. The material palette selected for the prototype system possesses extended life cycles that will continue to maintain function and aesthetics for an additional 10 to 15 years. Overall, the system application has the probability to create an intriguing occupant experience through its unique design.